my book, The Scent of Roses, Book 1, Revolution. It's a story set against a post-apocalyptic landscape where breeding healthy, genetically pure, young new beings and reproduction is enforced at all costs. Trees are ghosts, and roses have no scent. "Come," he said, "let me show you something." Colm wrapped his arm around her and gently pulled her away from the trunk. He led her where she had never ventured, around the back exit behind their nutrition area. It was dark as they padded barefoot down a short flight of stairs and through a narrow hallway, and his hand firmly gripped hers. He flipped a switch, and an overhead light exposed his long beds of roses in their earthy caskets. Rows and rows stacked above and below each other held roses in different states of growth. They went to the farthest of the rows, where the youngest plants were nascent under a penetrating light which pulsed hot, even from a distance. The blooms in different stages were fragrant in their imminent beauty, which would burst into unfolding layers of delicate colors, briefly giving their viewers something magical to behold. She understood his intensity, and Heather succumbed to their raw power, letting Colm guide her through the tight quarters, her body pressed into his, separated by nothing but the shimmery fabric that hung lightly about her shoulders. "I've been experimenting with different strains," he said. "I'm getting closer." She was humbled by his simple distraction and could not help but press herself into his exposed chest, thinking of his heart, which beat so regularly and strong right there. He was a basic male, not prone to fancy robes or many social confidants. He created roses. His deepest desire was her, among these new beds, as he put his hands to the works of his passions and dreams. She pressed her lips into his, and he opened up to her, embracing her there in his most private chamber. And there, among the heat lamps and the artificial light, and his sincerest hopes, they entwined their bodies. He was quickly aroused for her, and she wrapped her legs around him, deepening her kiss. "My love," he said. "My dearest Colm, I love you," she said. "Thank you for saving me." He picked her up and rested her against a bed of young roses. As she leaned back, she could feel the soft buds against her, the thorns touching her without scraping. Being down there in his inner sanctum for the first time awakened her most nurturing self. She wanted to cherish his creations in their most vulnerable state, and him as well. Intoxicated by the tremulous buds whose life's work, Heather pulled Colm deeper into her own private flesh as they became a universe within themselves, pelting each other with soft, open mouths. Silently they embraced, chest to chest, tears on their cheeks rubbing into each other, the throb of the artificial air circulating around them. He led her out of the rose beds and back to the resting pallet. She drifted into a deep rest, nestled under Colm's arm, with her cheek warm against the rise and fall of his ribcage. And what seemed like moments later, they were interrupted by the shrill ping of her alarm as male voices shattered their intimacy. "Maintainers! Enforcers! Recorders! Informationists and detectives! All arise! Arise! It is marking time!" it blurted. Then a pause. "Sergeant 49, you are summoned to the central dome to be among the counted." During the course of the story, Heather becomes very obsessed with finding these hidden canisters that people were carrying around with them before the ultimate apocalypse. And inside the canisters, they would carry just a few simple items to remember their lives by, their own personal histories. And her father, Dylan Timekeeper, believes they're all over and really believes in recapturing them and learning from their past. But society is, of course, marching forward towards reproduction and survival. This is the scrolls. We died a long time before the final blast came. We died as a society. We died as part of the world. Indeed, the world died a long time before the nuclear weapons polished us off. You wonder, how could I write these things if I am dead? Because I am. I exist in this netherworld down deep in the middle of nowhere, where you have found me years later, after all the world has come crashing down. The apocalypse came one day while I was riding the subway to visit my aging grandmother in Inwood, New York City, under bedrock and high up on the hill where no one bothered to bomb. They were focused on the financial district. They were fixated on the fancy buildings on Park Avenue and Central Park West, Billionaires Row on 57th Street corridor, not West 207th Street and Broadway, where another 100 years plus before they had herded cows to slaughter. Where, you wonder? New York City, and if you are reading this, you are somewhere near that hill, far away from riches. Some forgotten land that had little real estate value, not flooded with people in the Midtown universe of big money and corporate greed with airplane views of Central Park. So there, I was one of the lucky ones, trapped miles below ground in the bowels of my city, separated from my family and our privileged world that had received the worst final hits of destruction. Waiting out the radiation poisoning and the roving bands of crazed armies down here, along the endless train tracks, the extinguished electric grids, the metal stairways to nowhere. So I'm riding on the back of a box of chocolate and the paper bag it was in and the napkins, along with some challah and bagels. I was bringing it all to my grandmother. The food is long gone, and I assume so is she. Sorry, I passed out. I will be dead soon as my subway car, what I call people, have found what appears to be the last rat. So I say to you, be wary of the machines. We disconnected them with energy warfare long before the bombs came and finished it for us. Humans have become addicted to their toys, electronic gadgets have plugged into their brains and fingertips with music and words, sounds, texting, meetings online, and reconnecting with old friends. Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, be wary of those. And the screens, the endless words, the sound bites, the news of the day, the tweets. We found we could kill the power supply to the mainframes throughout the world and then disarm our enemies, wherever and however they were. Ah, the rage at being disconnected. Sorry, I had to stop myself to protect myself. Someone, something wanted to eat me. I was unwitting bait. The victimizer became the victim, and I hobbled away. My hiding spot in the dark will soon be discovered, and if I haven't died of starvation or made it to the top up there, where the air is rampant with radiation poisoning, then I will surely die of disease away in this filth, to be eaten by some wild thing with sunken eyes. Can you read my scroll in the dark? Does my hand shake too much from hunger to be legible? I am out of paper, and my pencil's a nub. Without it, I might as well extinguish myself. This is the only thing keeping me alive. Next, I will eat the paper that still smells, perhaps, of my grandmother's intended chocolate. We came to carry these canisters for the end of the world, filled them with whatever we wanted to take with us to the other side. Sad, but we can't take our loved ones around. We are born alone and we die alone. Last thought, find a museum, a real one, some art. Find a bone from a culture lost. Understand that destruction brings reinvention. Oh, we are making a run for it, back to the woods, they are calling me. I hope it's not a trap, but I must trust. Wish me luck, we are banding together into the abyss above, come what may, instead of eating each other. Know this, humanity lives on. Coming, coming.